Chapter 4: Changes in the Landscape. The Pleistocene advanced inexorably, and with it, changes in the landscape continued to transform the face of the Earth. As glaciers expanded and retreated in cycles spanning thousands of years, they left their indelible mark on the planet's geography. Large glacial lakes formed as the ice slowly melted, filling the basins with cold, crystalline waters. In northern America, Lake Agassiz stretched majestically, creating an inland sea that rivaled the great oceans. Mastodons, toxodons, mammoths, woolly bison and wild ponies were the giants in these regions in the Pleistocene. These herbivores migrated in massive herds in search of fresh pastures, following routes laid out by thousands of years of evolution. In its wake, the tundra was transformed, leaving behind a landscape of desolation covered in footprints and excrement that nourished the soil and promoted plant life in its endless cycle. Homo erectus, whose populations had grown and adapted, ventured into new regions in search of hunting and gathering opportunities. Nomadic tribes explored vast territories, crossing mountains and valleys, rivers and swamps. On their travels, they developed knowledge about the seasons, stars, and water currents, allowing them to survive amid changing conditions. On starry nights, the Milky Way stretched like a river of stars overhead. Homo erectus contemplated the universe for guidance and meaning, weaving myths and legends around the constellations that punctuated the night sky. These stories not only served as entertainment, but also as ways to convey vital knowledge about navigation and wilderness survival. As the Pleistocene progressed, landscapes became even more diversified. In coastal areas, Homo erectus had learned to use marine resources more efficiently. They built rudimentary boats from logs and ropes, venturing out to sea in search of fish and shellfish. Coastal populations had developed a close relationship with the ocean, taking advantage of its countless gifts to survive in a constantly changing world. On the vast plains, herds of herbivores continued their seasonal migration, setting the pace of life in these regions. The bison, with their massive shoulders and thick fur, moved forward in endless columns, searching for fresh pastures. Predators, such as the saber-toothed tiger and wolves, followed their prey closely, waiting for the perfect moment to hunt. In the high, mountainous lands, glaciers carved deep, majestic valleys. Homo erectus had learned to ascend to the heights, where they encountered alpine landscapes and impressive panoramic views. Here on these peaks, the air was delightfully fresh and clean, and herds of wild goats were a prized resource for hunting. The Pleistocene continued to be a time of constant change, where life adapted and evolved in response to fluctuations in climate and geography. Homo erectus had become masters of their environment, taking advantage of their knowledge and adaptability to thrive in a constantly evolving world. The landscapes continued to change, and with them, life on Earth unfolded in a ballet of adaptation and survival in the midst of one of the most fascinating times in the history of our planet. Climate change was inescapable, and the Pleistocene continued to be a time of radical transformations. One of the longest glacial epochs during the Pleistocene is known as the Worm Glaciation, which lasted from approximately 115,000 years ago to about 11,700 years ago. Between these periods, there were multiple glacial and interglacial epochs. The Worm Glaciation had a significant impact on Europe, particularly Northern Europe. During this period, much of Europe was covered in glacial ice, with glaciers advancing and retreating as climatic conditions varied. This glaciation affected the geography of the region, creating fjords, glacial valleys, rivers changing course and other geological features that are still evident today, and the flora and fauna adapted to the fickleness of the Earth. The landscape was shaped under the influence of geological time, and amidst these changes, life persisted, finding surprising ways to thrive in the midst of adversity. Chapter 4 of the Pleistocene marked an era of dynamics and challenges, where changes in the landscape shaped the life and destiny of the creatures that inhabited the planet. The Earth was changing relentlessly, and the future remained uncertain in this time of geological wonders and challenges.